So I started back to work today. It was the slowest day on the planet Earth. As you know, as it usually is on Mondays, but I feel like today was extra slow. Like I did the whole look at the clock and it was like 10 o'clock, and then 7 hours later I looked and it was like 10:45, you know, one of those kind of days. Not that I wasn't busy, obviously I have a lot to do. I mean, you know, if you've ever been out on leave, you know how it is. Your stuff gets done, but only the absolute, this is going to be a complaint if we don't do it kind of thing. So, which the girl that covered for me, she does a great job when she does it. I know it's a lot of work. I have multiple states that I handle, so I get it. But I have reporting that's due every quarter, and I usually submit it by the 15th. So if I was working, I would have technically submitted that on Friday, even though it's acceptable to do today since the 15th was a Sunday. So I have to build it from scratch, so it takes forever. But since I'm not there, it wasn't a whole lot. It was basically what I already knew I had, because I left that stuff. It was already in the works when I went out on leave. So all she had to do was complete it. So there was nothing. There was only like 2 additional for February that I wasn't originally working, and 3 I believe for March. So not a whole. I mean, it was enough to be annoying, but I also couldn't focus enough to deal with it. And then, if you can't tell, we are having funky weather today. Tornado watch. We're under a tornado watch, I think, until 7. So I haven't made dinner yet. So I'm gonna run out to the cemetery first and do that visit, and then head back home and make dinner, which is nothing crazy. I'm making smash burgers, and since the weather, it's too windy, because it would take forever for the grill to cook if I was to do it on a grill. But I'm going to just fry up the hot dogs instead of putting them on the grill, and that's what we'll have tonight and tomorrow night. And this gosh dang windshield wipers. So my husband just replaced the one on the right, because it was brand new, but it just squeaked so bad. Now I guess this left one wants to do it, but sounds way better, because I can't stand it when the windshield wipers are squeaking so bad like that. But anyway, it's been off and on windy. It's not even really hit us yet like it's supposed to. I know we have wires down in other areas around us. Over the Bay Bridge, they're getting hammered today, like so over in Frederick, Maryland area and Carroll County and stuff. I know they've had quite a few things. I believe they're waiting for confirmation on a tornado. I did see one meteorologist had a picture of it, but again, waiting for confirmation. So, yeah, it's been a day. A lot of rain, which we need. I'll never complain about the rain as long as I'm stuck inside. I'll complain about it if it's, when I have stuff to do outside and weekends. But when I'm stuck inside for work, I really don't complain about it, because, we need rain. But anyway, that was my day. Happy Tuesday. I had my second day of work today since coming back yesterday after medical leave. I have run out to the cemetery, and now I'm headed to, which is my second appointment for the day, my physical therapy. I had my follow-up appointment today. It was my second one, because last week when I went for my first one after my surgery, he can tell there's a little bit of infection in my arm. And I mean, I knew it was, just because it was almost immediate. And I did call them like 2 days after my surgery, and they were like, oh, that's normal, to be whatever, even though I could tell it was not normal. So when he took off my splint and cast thingy, last week. Obviously, it was pretty obvious. So he put me on, because they automatically gave me a week of antibiotic after the surgery, which is typical. And so he put me on another round of it for a week, and it hasn't done anything. So I saw the, I guess, surgical assistant or PA, whatever that is. I know he was in there when I had the surgery, but I don't know his title. I saw him today, and he decided to put me on something stronger. So anyway, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I mean, gosh, my appointment was at 10. I got there at 9:30, a little after 9:30, because they want you there at 9:45. They took me back pretty much at like 10:02, and it was like 10:45 before he even came in the room. So they were pretty busy this morning, and then I was in there probably a good 15 minutes. So I was gone a little bit longer than I had planned from work, but I needed to stop and pick up something from Target that I had ordered. Just a couple things for Easter. I don't really do a whole lot, but a couple things for Easter, and for my husband and stuff. So I just picked that up and got that, and then we stopped by Chick-fil-A for lunch, to grab lunch, to take home with us, and then I logged back in. But wasn't too terrible of a day. Got a couple things done. Started my list for tomorrow for my I must do this, and I want to do it immediately kind of thing, so that's just done and off my plate, because I think a lot of that is due on Monday. So if I get it done and submitted, I don't have to worry about it. And then I have some required learning that I have to do, so I'm going to do that. Try to do that tomorrow. I might try to do some of it tonight. There was one thing I wanted to get done today. So they do a lot of metrics. So if you are in a large company, especially a corporate type company, healthcare, then everything is metrics to death. So there's one thing, when a request comes in, it goes into this SharePoint, and it's assigned to whoever handles that state. So I got all but one done, and it's going to be pretty easy. So when I get back home, I'm probably going to go ahead and just do that and get it out of the way. I'll have to submit a couple things for my short-term disability, my return to work slip. So I'm going to do that when I get home. But anyway, headed to physical therapy, and then after that, I am going to run to Food Lion and just pick up a couple things to go with dinner tomorrow. I got to take something out of the freezer meat-wise. I'm going to take out, I have some picnic ribs, I think, in there that I'm going to take out, and I think I want to get some coleslaw, like a bag of coleslaw, and have that with it. And I have some like little baby new potatoes. I think I'm going to throw them in a crock pot tomorrow, in our small crock pot, with some rosemary and things like that, and just have a crock pot day. And then I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow night. My husband and my son bowl, so I don't know, maybe I will grab the rest of my, I have a video that I've started for some of my camping stuff, because I'm trying to get it organized, because I always forget something, and it drives me insane, because my stuff was so unorganized for a while, and I just was putting it in market bags because I was being lazy when it came to pack up time, and just chunking everything in the back of my car and leaving, and then not wanting to deal with it when I got home. Now I deal with my tent and everything, I'll lay it out and everything when I get home and let it dry or whatever needs to happen, and I pack it up really well. The first year, it's so embarrassing, honestly, because I'm like, okay, I'm not new to this, and I thought, oh my gosh, my sister, she's gonna forget stuff, and I kept saying, don't forget this, don't forget your tent, don't forget this. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna forget something. Tell me why. I get to the campground, we get down, because she went with me that trip, and I get down, and my tent stakes were not in my tent bag with the tent. Oh, I was so aggravated. But I got very lucky, because my niece and her husband were coming down to the same area for camping, so she was able to bring me her tent, set it up, and that's what I slept in. But so crisis averted, but had I had to run all the way back home, I'd have been so mad to get those tent stakes. So lesson learned in that department. The second year we camped together, did we forget lights? Yes, we forgot all of our lighting. And I don't know how. Well, I do know how, because I didn't put them where they needed to be at. I didn't put them in any kind of market bag and bring them. You know what I did with them is I laid all of the things I forgot were laying on the table, and I forgot to put them in my thing and bring them. So hence the bin that I bought. I might need another smaller bin. So I think what I may do is get another small clear bin, because I have one already. I use that for the Play-Doh for the grandkids, but I might get one like that and put my cooking type utensils in there, so that way they're not mixed in with like the citronella candles and getting all that smell in them and taste and everything else. So anyway, successful second day back to work. So I had my physical therapy, and then I went to Food Lion, got a few things we didn't need. So that's what happens when you go to a store when you're hungry. But when I get home, I am going to go ahead and jump back on my work computer, get a couple things done that are quick, a couple required learnings. And tomorrow morning, I think I'm going to try to get up early so that I can clean some, because my house is starting to stress me out. So I think I'm going to try to, and I might try to do some tonight, but I'm definitely going to clean off the kitchen table where I put out Easter decorations and left the boxes on the table, and they've been there for about 2 weeks now. So I'm going to try to get all that stuff just put next door and back in the, like, where I stored at. And I have a tree, a Christmas tree, just a small flocked one. I usually leave it out until the end of March just because sometimes it snows, but I'm tired of looking at it. It's been there for, well, since I took the Christmas tree down in there. So probably take that over next door tomorrow and get it out of there in the morning, and grab my camping stuff, the rest of my camping stuff, while I'm over there. So yeah, successful day. So today was day 3 back to work, and I'm already ready to quit. Oh Lord. I should be happy that I have a job, and I was on scrolling, like doom scrolling basically, the other night on Pinterest, and well, it's probably been a couple weeks ago, and this like meme thing popped up that said somewhere someone out there is praying for the job that you have, the life that you have, the car that you have, the whatever it may be. And I was like, that's so true, because that was me at one point, and you know, here I am, and I worked so hard to get where I am, but it's so stressful, because at the end of the day, the more you make and the more, I don't know how to explain it, I guess intricate your job is compared to other jobs I've had where I've worked at hospital for a long time in the finance department, and then also, you know, waitressing and working at sub shops and stuff like that. I find myself more and more missing waitressing and working at sub shops. I'm so sick of using my brain. Not that I didn't have to use my brain, but for that too, but not like you do at, you know, these jobs, these hard jobs. So anyway, I just have to remind myself that I'm very fortunate to have the job that I have, that I'm making the money that I make. I mean, well, it was good money until, you know, the economy of the last like 8 years, the last 6, 7, 8 years. But I'm very glad that I work from home. That's a lot of what I worked towards back in the day, and it took me a long time to get there. I've been working from home for 14 years, and sometimes I wonder if maybe because I thought really a lot of it was like burnout, but then I was like, no, I'm not burnt out. It's just because I was in so much pain with my shoulders and my arm, and just, you know, it was giving me more migraines, and it was a lot going on, you know, it was a lot of stress happening. So I thought a lot of it was that, and yes, I'm well aware it's my first week back, I gotta, you know, get called up and, you know, things like that. So, you know, that's expected, but I thought it was just a burnout and the pain. But now that I'm back, like, I really was thinking about it today, and on the calls that I was on, and the emails that are coming through, and the fact that, like, they don't even give you like a day or so to roll back in. They're just like shoving stuff to you the week prior, so that when you come in, it's already out of compliance for your metrics. So, you know, you're struggling to hurry up and get that done so it doesn't go too far out, because nowhere on that metrics does it say you were out of office, you know. So, and I, you know, I was just today just sitting on the calls and going through emails. I was like, gosh, I don't want to be here. Like, I hate this job. Like, I like what I do. It's just that everything is so toxic and everyone is so unhappy that it really just makes for a toxic environment, even on the days that you don't even talk to anyone. Like, there's days that my phone don't ring, no one instant messages me, nothing. And it's just aggravating. And I'm the type of person, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I don't want to talk to people during the day unless I'm calling outside of, my job, unless I'm calling outside of work. Anyway. So, but I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And I haven't been for a long time. I think I said this before. I am in healthcare. I'm in corporate healthcare at this point. And, I've been in healthcare for a long time. And I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of doing it. But it's what I know. I fall into it every single time. And I'm just over it. And I don't know what I want to do. Now, for the past years ago, I had also got my real estate license because after I graduated, that's what I wanted to do. But back then in the 90s, nobody was using women. And, when you can't even get your own family to support you and refer people to you or use you when they're doing a real estate transaction, even if they're like, I really want to go with such and such, but can you refer me? Because you can get a referral fee, okay? You weren't going anywhere. We're in a small area, so it has a lot to do with it. And also, I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert, and it wasn't like it is now, where there's all these companies where you have the realtor or the broker or whatever, and then they employ real estate agents. They're the ones getting all the accolades for. There's a big group here that does that. He gets all the accolades for being the top seller. That's the people under him that are making that for him. And I just don't like that. I feel like it's untrue. It's bamboozling the public. I don't know. But anyway, it is what it is. Back then, you had to find your own customers and pay for your advertising. And there was no allowances like they do where they'll take it out of your commission checks or your pay or whatever. It just was none of that. And I wouldn't want to work under that. I would want to be under my own, be under a broker because you have to be. But I wouldn't want to work under that. I would want to be independent. But I'm also aged out of stuff like that. So I just don't want to do anything. I work in contracting now. That's what I do. I'm a network contract manager. And I'm just tired of legal and trying to remember laws and regulations and all the states. And I don't even live in the states that I'm handling. And they're like, well, no, I don't. I've never been there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just hard because I don't know what I want to do. I know what I want to do, and it's nothing of anything that's going to pay me any kind of money. And right now, because of our bills, I don't have a choice but to stay where I'm at. So I got to figure out if you have any tips. I do know how I can dig myself out of it sometimes, but here lately, I've not been able to for the past about a year and a half. I've not been able to dig myself out of this job despair, we'll call it. Anyway, if you have any tips for digging out of that, let me know because I need them. So today is it's Thursday, so day 4 of being back to work after medical leave, and I'm still kicking myself for not making plans and like really busting behind while I was off to maybe do something else. I don't know. Anyway, it's one of those things where the environment is so toxic at this point, and they're just trying to create ways. We're going to be created now on some of our work, like literally A's, B's, C's, D's, kind of thing. And my manager took a dig at me today on one of our calls because they don't like it when you push back, because I basically said, what are we, kindergartners? We're not freaking children. And anyway, whatever, it is what it is. That's fine. I'll do the project that they gave us previously, and I'm going to do the bare minimum like everyone else has been doing, which is why they were able to get theirs done. I was doing mine correctly. And so now today I started just doing the bare minimum of the ask and not going outside of that. And I do go outside of stuff. Like, I want my stuff to be right because it's going to come back on you 4 months from now, and it's going to be a bigger problem than what it would be if you'd just taken care of the problem when you found it the first time around. And because we're going back years on this project for some of this stuff, it's, you got to do some digging and calling people and things like that. So I was able to knock out just about all of it, the rest of it today. So whatever, they're going to be like, oh, but guys, you didn't want that. So anyway, and then of course, everyone wants to just dump everything on certain people, and, you know, tell my other coworker, we talk on the cell phones, we don't talk on our phones because you never know if you're being recorded. So, you know, we were talking about it. Like I said, I didn't even know this other person was on our team. I said, when we're on our calls, we hear my name and this girl I was talking to yesterday and another girl. That's it. We never hear anyone else's names. It's, oh, such and such is going to be helping and being pulled for this, and such is being pulled to help with this. Never are the other people pulled to help. But yeah, I have another girl. There's 2 girls on our team that don't actually have a job. They're kind of like floating. And it's like, why do you keep dumping everything on me, honestly? Because they'll do it and say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking this on. I can't say no. Like, what the heck? I'm not allowed to say no. So, I don't know. Anyway, if you're like a manager or a leader or whatever, and y'all are starting to metrics people to death, this is what you're going to do. You are going to create a revolving door for yourself and the company, okay? Because people are going to leave, and that is how you get rid of good employees, is they're going to leave, and then you are going to be stuck training someone every 5 or 6 months, because ain't nobody putting up with this stupid crap. Because I know I'm not. I know this weekend I'm going to be getting my stuff together, getting my LinkedIn updated, getting my stuff to get, you know, like updated and ready to go. And then probably in the next couple of months. Now, I've already put out some feelers in the past couple of months on a down low with some directors and stuff that I worked with in the past, and just said, hey, anything that you may or may not have, you might have come up here in the near future, will you please send it over to me, the rec number? I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to put in for anything, but I would love to take a look at whatever you have open. The bad part is you don't know who to go to, what teams, because they're doing layoffs every other week, so you're not safe. So we have that added stress, so you're never safe. So then it's like, okay, if I jump teams, I'm only going to jump into whatever they're doing metric wise, and I don't mind being metrics. It's the stupid stuff they're metricing, you know, that they're putting on you, like, oh, you didn't make this capitalization. We want it all to be capitalized, not just the first letter. We don't want this and we want that, and we want an apostrophe here. Okay, but that company doesn't have an apostrophe on their W-9. Well, that's not our fault that they don't know punctuation. And it's like, okay, but we're required to have it the way they list it and the way they're listed with their state. And this is the way they're listed. But see, they don't like you to push back. So anyway, it's been one of those weeks, and I should be fortunate that I still have a job. I am fortunate that I still have a job. But anyway, if you, I don't know if I already said this, but I did read something on Pinterest recently that makes sense. And you know, I'll try to post it at the end if I can find it. Well, it's day 5, Friday. I made it through the week, barely. If anyone knows how to retire at 49, let me know. I need to know. You know, I might try to see if the OF site likes crusty feet, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I made it through the week. Just standing out here trying to get some fresh air. It actually got to 65 today. But it's super windy, and I didn't walk earlier like I was going to, and I have a feeling when I get home from the cemetery, because I'm gonna run out there for a few minutes, it is going to be cold because the sun's going down some, and the horse is having his dinner. So I just got to the cemetery, and I'm just sitting here. That's what I do. I come out here and I decompress, you know, and I'll be glad when it's warmer weather so I can get my chair out and sit. And I'm trying to get motivated to finish reading this book. My daughter had some books that I don't know if she actually had time to read them, that she had gotten. And I read a lot of stuff out here. I read it out loud, appropriate stuff, right? But I've read a lot of series out here, things like what do you call it? Harry Potter and things. Right now I'm reading, well, I started it and then I had my surgeries, but it's Nicholas Sparks' book, See Me. It's actually not too bad. I'm probably just about middle way, but I just haven't been motivated to pick it back up yet. So when the warmer months get here and I can sit outside, then I will do that. So anyway, hope everyone had a great week.